CMO 02-2022 provide updated procedure for the establishment, supervision, operation of CBW. Its key objectives is to establish clear procedures for CBW establishment and operation. Next, it is to implement an ICT-driven CBW management system for transparent monitoring and control. Then, it institutes a full compliance regime with sanctions for violation. And lastly, it defines duties, responsibilities, and accountabilities of the Bureau of Customs personnel and the CBW operators and clients.
Vision 2.1 General Consideration. Vision 2.1 General Consideration. 2.1.1 Transfer of goods to CBW. 2.1.1 Transfer of goods to CBW. Goods for transfer to Customs Valid Warehouse shall be subject to a mandatory non-intrusive inspection at the port of discharge, whether covered by a goods declaration for warehousing or goods declaration for transit, unless the goods entered for warehousing is placed under an alert order or selected for physical non-intrusive examination. The district collector shall allow the immediate transfer of banded goods to the Customs Valid Warehouse where 100% physical examination shall be conducted. This means when the custom will check kung kinahanglan ba sila further inspection. If any goods kay naay alert order for na-appeal for physical or additional scanning, dito sila i-check sa port. Pero kung walay alert order or wala good na appeal sa further examination, the district collector will approve the immediate transfer of goods padulong sa CBW. Pag-abot sa CBW, dito nabuhaton ang 100% physical examination, meaning ablihan gyud ang tanan box ug tan-awon ang full content to make sure nga sakto ug legal ang mga items.
Storage period of banded goods. Goods entered for warehousing may remain in a CBW for a maximum period of 1 year from the time of its arrival at the warehouse. They're covered by a WSAD or TSAD for custom common banded warehouse or CCBWs. Reconnecting of the storage period shall be starts from the arrival of the goods to the mother warehouse. For perishable goods, the storage period shall be 3 months from the date of arrival at the warehouse, extendable for valid reason and upon written request for another 3 months.
Allowable importation. Importation shall be made within the limits of the CBW's respective authority or license, as applied for and approved within. First, the specific raw materials, according to their corresponding excise tariff lines. Next is the volume or quantity of said raw materials in the particular units of measure. And lastly, in the case of industry-specific customs banded warehouse or ICBWs, the client and user for whom said raw materials identify according to their corresponding excise tariff lines may be transferred, sold, and the quantity or volume in the particular units of measure. So maybe goods not authorized for importation under warehousing or in excess of the volume and quantity allowed under the CBW's license shall be subject to payment.
Non-importation of finished goods except when such goods are intended to be used as a component in the manufacture or production of another finished goods for export as approved by the Customs Banded Warehouse Committee or CBWC. No importation of goods for warehousing shall be allowed. Next, restricted and regulating goods without the corresponding clearance or import authority duly issued by a competent authority shall be subject to seizure and forfeiture proceeding. Suspected goods is the control is import and export permit and suspected PNISA of violating customs laws, mga smuggling or misdeclaration. And Regulated goods is naa siya specific regulations related sa government, regulatory agencies nga ma-import with proper authority.
So, withdrawals for local sales or domestic consumptions. No withdrawal for domestic consumptions shall be allowed except upon approval by the district collector. So, why withdrawal para domestic consumptions ngay allow except og aprubahan gikan sa district collector? As recommended by the operating division and only upon payment of corresponding duties and success. Provided such withdrawal for local sales, domestic sales shall not exceed 30% to the total volume of bonded raw materials transferred to the CBWs for the year. The prohibition of the threshold limit to the local sales shall not apply to the private customs bonded warehouse or PCBWs.
Withdrawal for subcontract. CBW operator or accredited member may, on account of insufficiency of operational facilities or lack of material time to meet export commitment, withdraw the bonded goods without payment of duty and tax or subcontract the processing thereof, subject the approval of the district collector and the following guideline. So, a warehouse operator may withdraw bonded goods without paying duties, taxes, or subcontracted when needed to meet export requirements. Only accredited subcontractors may do the work, and all the materials, processes, and return must follow government rules. Only duly accredited subcontractors may undertake subcontracting jobs. B. The work to be undertaken by the subcontraction shall, whenever practicable, be specified. C. For garment manufacturer, transfer for materials required for manufacturing shall be subject to the rules and regulations and approval of the concerned government agency. Only pre-cut or cut-to-pattern material shall be transferred, unless otherwise approved by the concerned government agency. And D. Upon completion of the processing done by the contractor, finished materials and the resulting wastages, if any, shall be returned to the CBW or CCBW, accredited members, which shall be examined by the assigned warehouseman to account for the duty or tax-free raw materials used in processing.
Prohibition on importation by industry-specific custom bonded warehouse. Importation by ICBWs of fibers, yarns, fabrics, and accessories for the manufacture of garments shall not be allowed.
Provisions specific to common customs bonded warehouses and its accredited members. A manufacturer and exporter shall be accredited with one only CCBW, which shall be known as the mother of warehouse. The mother of warehouse and its accredited members shall maintain at all times in their place of business and make available for inspection their books of accounts supporting documents and records of imported materials. A mother of warehouse o ang mga accredited members kinahanglan mag-keep og tarong sa ilang mga records sama sa mga libro, sa accounts supporting documents o mga inventory sa imported materials. And shall secure the materials imported through the CCBW against pilferage and loss due to fire, floods, and other such occurrences. Importante ni para kanang masiguro nga limpyo o klaro ang operasyon. The warehouse of business of the mother warehouse and its accredited members shall be made accessible to all authorized customs official or representatives upon presentation of approved mission order issued by the district collector or commissioner of customs. Ang mga authorized representatives sa customs pwede mo sulod o mo inspect sa warehouse. Basta sila kay makapakita og approved mission order nga gi-issue sa district collector or commissioner of customs. All goods for transfer to CCBWs must first pass through the CCBW operating for recording and stock. Inventory purposes unless the district collector allows the direct transfer to the warehouse of the accredited members of CCBWs.
The CCBW operator shall be directly responsible for the liquidation of all raw materials imported by the accredited members. The CCBW operator shall be directly responsible for the liquidation of all raw materials imported by the accredited members. The accreditation of a member of a CCBW has an importation or exportation within a minimum period of 1 year shall be deemed pre-terminated without prejudice to be filing of a new application for accreditation. Transfer of membership from one CCBW to another shall not be used as a means to circumvent the requirements to manufacture and re-export the finished or semi-finished products out of imported raw materials within 1 year or within 3 months in case of perishable goods from date of original transfer to the CCBW. Transfer or sale of bonded goods between accredited members belonging to same CCBW shall not be used to extend the original storage period counted from the date the imported materials received at the mother warehouse by the CCBW operator.
Only semi-finished and finished product which had undergone processing manufacturing by one member may be transferred, sold without payment of duties and taxes to another member belonging to the same CCBW, provided that the transfer buyer member shall further process the same, use them as inputs, holders, covering, or containers of its own semi-finished and finished product for subsequent exportation. A WSAD shall be filled for monitoring purposes by the new CCW for the account of the member to replace the former division import entries. Subsequent transfer and sale by the first transferee buyer member to another accredited member of the same CCW ASAY is not allowed. The transfer sale of bounded goods shall be subject to the approval of the district collector who exercises jurisdiction, supervision, and control over the CCW. The CCBW and the accredited member shall be jointly and severally responsible for the liquidation of the WSAD covering the bonded goods. The CCBW and the accredited member buyer of bonded goods sold transferred shall likewise be jointly and severally liable in cases where they are transferred sale between accredited members of the CCBW.
Application for authority to operate a CBW. Application for authority to operate a CBW shall be filed with the collection district having jurisdiction over the area where the proposed CBW is located, describing the premises, location, capacity, and purpose of such establishment. In case of a CCBW, the authority to operate is given to the mother warehouse. Application must be filed by letter with the collection district having jurisdiction over the area where the mother warehouse is located. Accredited member of CCBWs shall not be given their own authority to operate. Multinational companies who have established regional headquarters under Book 3 of Executive Order Number 226 and desiring to apply for an authority to operate an ICBW to act as a multinational regional banded warehouse shall file its application with the Board of Investment BOI. BOI shall endorse the Bureau the multinational company's application for regional warehouse.
Documentary requirements. Any person or firm designing to establish and operate a CBW shall submit the duly filled up application to operate a CBW, together with the following required documents: COC, Certificate of Accreditation as Importer, Lease Contractor, Certificate of Title to the real property where the proposed CBW is located, warehouse location or vicinity map showing the areas and means of access, warehouse location or vicinity map showing the areas and means of access. Floor plan and building structure, storage areas for raw materials, finished products, production area, office space for CBW and custom personnel, and physical security feature, list of machineries and equipment. Feasibility study, a project feasibility study following the format in annex shall be present the viability to operate for a period of 5 years, which shall include the technical aspect of the business. Monthly required of the list of materials to be imported, hard and soft copies of the formula of manufacture, if applicable.
Other documentary requirements which have been submitted during the application for accreditation as importer must be requested from the Account Management Office of the Bureau during the evaluation of the application by the Customs Bonded Warehouse Committee, and shall no longer be incurred to be submitted by the applicant.
Upon receipt of the application, the district collector shall immediately refer the same to the Warehousing Documentation and Records Division, equivalent unit, or operating division, whichever is applicable, to determine the completeness of the documents submitted in support of the application. The WDRD equivalent unit or operating division shall immediately refer the same to the Warehousing Inspection Division, equivalent unit, which shall conduct inspection of the proposed CBW and submit the inspection report in the prescribed format to the WDRD or equivalent unit or operating division concerned, whichever is applicable, within 7 working days from receipt thereof.
So, the following shall be considered in the preparation of the report. First, the location of the proposed warehouse is accessible to all means of land transportation. Next, occupancy permit issued by local government unit concerned. Next, the proposed warehouse is designed and configured to accept, store, and withdraw the imported raw materials, finished goods, and byproduct in a secure manner. Entry and withdrawal of bonded goods shall only be through the design, entrance, and exit. So, next, the storage capacity of the warehouse is consistent with the expected volume of bonded goods. Fifth, provision for working and storage area, including the compartment for imported raw materials, semi-finished, and finished product, was stages by products and reject and must be properly partitioned by a permanent structure from one another to secure the bonded goods. 6. Offices for customs personnel and CBW's operator with computer system and internet connectivity are provided. Next is CCTV cameras in strategic places are installed. Lastly, for CCBW and ICBW, the facility for the examination of goods shall be required. In case there are deficiencies noted, the applicant shall be given 15 days upon receipt or notice of deficiency to comply with the requirements, subject to extension upon filing of a request and approval of the district collector concerned.
Simultaneous with the referral of the application to the WID or equivalent unit, the WDRD or equivalent office or operating division shall secure clearance or certificate of no accountability from the operating division, collection service, revenue collection and monitoring group, collection division, bond division, liquidation and billing division, and clearances from the Enforcement and Security Service, Customs Intelligence and Investigation Service, with 7 working days from receipt of the memorandum.
RD or equivalent office or operating division concerned shall submit its evaluation and recommendation to the district collector within 3 working days from completion of the required clearances attaching thereto the inspection report, an application form, and other supporting documents. If the application is found to be in order, the district collector shall recommend approval within 7 working days from receipt of complete documents and inspection report and shall forward the same to the CBWC. WC shall conduct a deliberation on the application within 20 working days from receipt of the application with complete documentary requirements and recommendation from the district collector and shall submit to the commissioner the CBWC's evaluation report and recommendation for approval.
The commissioner shall act on the recommendation of the CBWC within 7 working days from receipt of recommendation. Within 3 days from receipt of approval by the commissioner of application, the deputy commissioner assessment and operation coordinating group as head of the CBWC shall forward the approval to the district collector concerned for implementation. In case where the commissioner denies the application for establishment of CBW, the deputy commissioner AOCG as head of the CBWC shall forward the denial to the district collector concerned within 3 days from receipt thereof.
Application for membership to a CCBW. Evaluation of the application. Upon receipt of the application, the operating division concerned shall check whether the applicant is not accredited or connected with any other CCBW. B. The evaluation of the application shall confirm with the procedures laid down under section 3.1 to 3.4 of this order.
Application for transfer of membership from one CCBW to another. Documentary requirements. In addition to the documentary requirements listed in section 3.2, the following additional requirements shall be submitted. Letter from member manifesting of his intent to transfer membership to another CCBW. Sworn statement by the member that it has no outstanding obligation with its former CCBW. Written approval by the former CCBW to transfer or reason for objecting within 5 days working from receipt of letter of intent. Failure of the mother CCW to submit comment of objections shall be considered as a objection of his part of transfer of membership for the accredited member. Acceptance letter of the new CCBW and its assumption of liabilities of the member and certification stating that its warehouse of accommodate and handle the volume of importation of the application member.
Procedure for evaluation of the request for transfer of membership. First, the request shall be filed with the chief operating division concerned for evaluation and recommendation. Second, the recommendation of the chief operating division concerned together with the documentary requirements shall be submitted to the district collector through the deputy collector of operating. Lastly, the evaluation of the application shall conform with the procedure laid down under section 335 to 339 of this order.
Application for accreditation as subcontractor. A. Requirements for accreditation of subcontractor. 1. Service agreement or memorandum of understanding the principal. 2. List of the raw materials, semi-finished goods to be subcontracted. And 3. For garments manufacturing, endorsement from the concerned government agency. B. The evaluation of the application for accreditation as subcontractor shall conform with the procedures laid down under Section 3.3.5 to 3.3.9 of this order.
Application for accreditation as client and user of ICBW. A. The following may be accredited as client and users of an ICBW. First is a CBW. Second is Free Zone Registered Enterprise. Third is vessels or aircraft engaged in international trade. B. Requirements for accreditation as client and users. An ICBW operator may apply for the accreditation of a company as its client and user by filing an application, Annex A, with a collector of customs accompanied with the same documents in Section 3.2 with the following additional requirements.
Supply contract or service agreements. Raw materials requirement per client and user, identified according to their corresponding HS tariff lines and the quantities or volumes in the particular unit of measure. Finished product produced by client and user from the raw materials imported by the ICBW and for vessels and airlines engaged in international trade. Certificate issued by Maritime Industry Authority or Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, whichever is applicable, showing proof that the vessels or aircrafts are engaged in the international trade. The evaluation of the application for accreditation as client and user shall follow the procedures laid down under Section 335 to 339 of this order.
The subsection 3.4.5 is all about the application for accreditation as client exporter of a manufacturing customs bonded warehouse with the following additional requirements. First, it needs the accreditation as exporter with the Bureau. Next, it also needs accreditation as exporter with the BOI, Department of Trade and Industry, or other investment promotion agencies. It also needs a supply contract or agreement between the client exporter and the MCBW operator of accredited member of the CCBW, as the case may be, and it also needs a written undertaking from client exporter that he will submit copies of his export documents for liquidation of the covering warehouse declaration by the CBW operator or accredited member, whichever is applicable. In the case of application for accreditation as client exporter of an accredited member of a CCBW, the application shall be filed jointly with the CCBW operator and the accredited member. The evaluation of the application for accreditation as client exporter shall conform with the procedures laid down under Section 3.35 to Section 3.39 of this order.